Hello and welcome to News at 10 on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor with you, and here are the latest headlines that we are tracking. EU's stern warning to Pakistan. Islamabad asked to stop human rights violations in Balochistan or face sanctions. India says Pakistan is being isolated. Indian troops begin a joint drill with Russian forces in Vladivostok with focus on counter-terror operations. Russian troops arrive for first joint military drill in Pakistan. Prime Minister to address a public meeting in Kozhikode in Kerala, where BJP National Council is being held. Pro-poor agenda of BJP focus of meet. Situation after Uri attack to find a mention. Heavy rains claim 13 lives in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. Normal life disrupted in Mumbai. Forecast for heavy downpour. And Karnataka Assembly passes unanimous resolution against releasing additional Kaveri water to Tamil Nadu. Decides the storages will be used only to meet drinking water need regions in Kaveri Basin. Our top focus this morning, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be in Kerala today, where he will address a public rally as part of the BJP's National Council meet. Well, the focus of the meet is poverty alleviation as its a focal point. Even though the upliftment of the poor tops the agenda, the party will also talk about what is the situation post the Uri terror attack is. Now, the three-day event will conclude with the inauguration of the year-long centenary birth anniversary celebrations of Deen Dayal Upadhyay.
The BJP National Executive met in Kozhikode in Kerala on the first day of the three-day party meet. The Uri terror attack loomed large over the meeting. The party itself sought to focus on the pro-poor agenda during the deliberations.
In a way, this National Council meeting here, which is taking place on the eve of the birth centenary of Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay ji, will provide us an opportunity to rededicate ourselves to the ideology propounded by Pandit Deen Dayal ji.
During the meeting on day one of the national office bearers, the party president, Amit Shah, asked state governments to execute the schemes aimed at the welfare of the poor. The party is marking the centenary birth anniversary year of its ideologue, Deen Dayal Upadhyay.
You will naturally have one major issue in your minds about the situation in the country, in the neighborhood, etc., etc. It's a very important national council, but its focus is on Pandit Deen Dayal ji, his ideology, his commitment to poor and downtrodden people, how to take it forward. But when we meet at an important meeting like this, it's natural that all the important issues before the nation will be discussed at appropriate levels.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address a public gathering today and also honour senior leaders from the days of the Jan Sangh. The venue for the meeting has been selected as a mark of respect for Deen Dayal Upadhyay. Upadhyay was appointed President of the Bharatiya Jana Sangh in Kozhikode in December 1967.
The poor-centric ideology of Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay seems to be at the top of the agenda for BJP's National Council meet. However, facing flack over the repeated incidents of terrorist attack on defence installations, the ruling party is likely to utilize this opportunity to send a clear and tough message on the issue of national security and terrorism.
The Party National Council will adopt the Garib Kalyan report of the committee headed by Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan and is likely to ask states where it is in power to implement pro-poor schemes of the Modi government with a one-year target. The year-long celebrations to commemorate the centenary will be inaugurated on Sunday by Amit Shah. The Prime Minister has constituted two committees for the same. The PM himself will chair a 149-member National Council, while Home Minister Rajnath Singh will head a 23-member Executive Committee. With camera person Prashant
Well, my colleague Vishal Daya is tracking all those developments in Kerala. Let's go across to him. Vishal, now yesterday we saw on the first day of the meet that the BJP found it really hard to stick to its agenda, organizational agenda that was set for the meet because Kashmir and Uri attack remain the top focus. What can we expect today? The Prime Minister is going to address a rally today.
Yes, you're right. The Uri attack issue will, or rather is looming large on this particular National Council.
We seem to have lost audio contact with my colleague Vishal there. But remember, it is going to be a very important day. On the first day of the National Council meeting, the BJP really worked hard to stick to its organizational agenda for the meet because Kashmir and the attack on Uri continue to loom much of the meet. Now, remember this conclave celebrates the 100th birth anniversary of Deen Dayal Upadhyay, a former chief of the Jan Sangh. Let's go across to my colleague Vishal once again. Vishal, as you were saying, that it seems that again Kashmir issue and the attack on Uri will continue to remain loom over much of the meet today.
Well, yes, as I was saying, it is, going to loom large on this National Council meet. Perhaps one of the major reasons behind that is the kind of political attack which the ruling party has been under since almost a week now. It's not only the opposition parties but also the allies within the government which are very, vociferous in their criticism of the government's, stand, the steps to be taken by the government in response to the terror attack in Uri last Sunday. And clearly, the BJP also seems to have realized this fact that a meeting like this, wherein all the senior leaders of the party, including the Prime Minister himself, will be present, a conclave like this cannot be, left without sort of an indication given of the party's stand on issues like terror, national security, and that is why it seems as of now that there will be tomorrow when the National Council meeting begins, when the political the resolution will be taken up for discussion. What we are hoping is that apart from the people-centric agenda, the poor-centric agenda, which the party has been propagating since last few days now, that would be at the center of this particular meet. We might also see some reference being made to the steps to be taken as far as national security and to combat terrorism is concerned. Apart from that, one very major, happening which needs to be tracked is the Prime Minister's public address, which will take place at Calicut Beach in the evening today. This will be first such address which the Prime Minister will make after that attack in Uri. And everybody is hoping, including the party leaders and workers, that he will make some reference to either the attack or the menace of terrorism. So some strong-worded statement coming in from the Prime Minister is a possibility today as well.
All right. So there's going to be a focus on the Prime Minister's speech because there is going to be a strong message on Uri attack likely from that speech in Kerala. Thank you so much, Vishal, for all those updates. Meanwhile, Pakistan continues to be in denial over its involvement in the Uri terror attack. Islamabad has said that India is in a habit of blaming its neighbour. However, India's attempt to isolate Pakistan got another shot in the arm, with the EU warning Pakistan to stop human rights violations in Balochistan or face sanctions.
हिंदुस्तानियों के पास खुद कुछ नहीं है सबूत, तो पाकिस्तान किस किस्म की कार्रवाई करे? उन्होंने तो एक इल्जाम लगाया है और इल्जाम भी सिर्फ पाकिस्तान को बदनाम करने के लिए लगाया है.
Pakistan once again rejecting India's stand of its involvement in the Uri attack. Islamabad also ruling out any immediate cooperation with India in probing the incident despite international advice.
सबसे पहले तो इस बात की जवाबदेही होनी चाहिए कि अभी एक हमला जारी था, अभी तो तहकीक शुरू ही नहीं हुई थी और उन्होंने इल्जाम हम पे लगाना शुरू कर दिया. सो अगर कोई जवाब आना चाहिए, if anybody has to answer anybody, it's India.
Amid the escalating tension with India, Pakistan Army Chief Rahil Sharif said the country's armed forces were capable of countering any threat to the country's security at any cost. However, Pakistan finds itself being slowly isolated on the international platform despite its Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif's attempts at the United Nations General Assembly to internationalize the Kashmir issue once again.
What we started in 1996 as an initiative of ours to focus on terrorism has now become a crescendo. And we are gratified by the support that increasingly countries are standing up and voicing their support for this menace, against this menace.
Adding to Pakistan's woes is a European Parliament Vice President saying the European Union may impose economic and political sanctions on Islamabad if Pakistan fails to stop human rights violations in the Balochistan region.
We have bilateral economic and political relations with Pakistan, and if Pakistan will not change the state policy to Balochistan people in this situation, we should change our attitude to Karachi, to government of Pakistan.
The EU Vice President's veiled warning came when he added that it is not time for words but for actions. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, in a related news, External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj will arrive in New York today to attend the ongoing 71st session of the United Nations General Assembly. Now, Sushma Swaraj will be addressing the General Assembly on Monday and is expected to bring up Kashmir as a dominant point in her speech. It is also anticipated that the human rights violations in Balochistan will also find a mention in her address. Earlier this week, exercising its right to reply at the United Nations, India had said that Pakistan is allowing terror organizations and terrorists to roam freely in its territory. This after Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif addressed the UNG on Wednesday, where he once again raised the Kashmir issue. Sushma Swaraj had addressed the General Assembly session last year as well and had raised the 2008 Mumbai terror attacks and its mastermind terrorist Hafiz Saeed's presence in Pakistan. And back in the national capital, top security experts of SAARC nations have agreed to help each other in tackling suicide attacks, the radicalization of youths, besides sharing intelligence on terror on real time. The agreement came at the second meeting of the high-level group of eminent experts to strengthen the SAARC anti-terrorism mechanism held in Delhi. The meet was attended by intelligence chiefs of Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, the Maldives, besides India. Director General of Intelligence Bureau of Pakistan, Aftab Sultan, did not attend the meeting amidst the ongoing hostility between India and Pakistan over terror attack in Uri. Now, all member nations agreed to cooperate on capacity building by way of sharing their expertise on subjects related to suicide terrorism, counter-radicalization, drugs trafficking and cybersecurity. Now, other issues like corruption and money laundering were also brought up for discussions as they also contribute towards terror financing. On to some other news. India and Russia on Friday kicked off the 8th edition of their joint military exercise in Vladivostok with a focus on counter-terror operations. Well, the Indra 2016 exercise is being held in the district, and the main focus of the edition of joint drills is on counter-terrorism operations in semi-mountainous and jungle terrain under United Nations mandate. Now, Brigadier Sukrit Chada is leading the Indian contingent of 250 soldiers from the Kumaon Regiment, while the Russian Army is being represented by 250 soldiers from the 59th Motorized Infantry Brigade. Now, the Indra series of bilateral exercises is one of the major bilateral defense cooperation initiatives between India and Russia since 2003. The Indian contingent is scheduled to return to India on the termination of the exercise in early October. Meanwhile, Russian troops arrived in Islamabad on Friday to participate in the first ever joint military exercises with Pakistani forces. Now, starting today, about 200 troops from the two nations, including 70 servicemen from Russia, will take part in the 2-week-long military drills called as Friendship 2016, which has been termed as a sign of growing military ties between the two former rivals of a Cold War era. Meanwhile, Russia rubbished reports that its troops will be holding joint military exercises with Pakistani forces in the Pakistan-occupied areas of Gilgit Baltistan and said that drills will take place in Cherat in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa region. Well, the multi-agency search for a group of men spotted moving suspiciously near a naval base in Uran in Maharashtra continued for the second day on Friday as well. The Navy, however, has called off its operations. Police said that one of the men could be traced so far. Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis, who was in Pune, said that the information about suspicious armed people being spotted in Uran was yet to be corroborated. However, police said that based on the description given by some school children who spotted the armed suspects, their sketches have been issued. Now, the police has also submitted a confidential report on the search operations to the government. A high-level meeting of police officials and National Security Guard unit commanders was also held at Uran on Friday. Though the Navy has called off its operations, it continues to maintain, however, a high state of alert and tight vigil. And in News at 10, we'll take a very short break. We'll be back with more news. Stay tuned.
I'm Amritan Shirai. You're watching Constitutionally Yours.
We need to change according to times and situation.
District Council has its own authority, and similarly the state government has its own authority.
The judiciary cannot become an administrator.
Are they in any way accountable to the central government, either directly or indirectly, sir?
Accountability has to be there at all levels.
Join us as we try to understand contemporary issues related to the Constitution. Watch Constitutionally Yours on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back after the break. Now, a special session of the Karnataka Assembly on Friday unanimously decided not to release additional Kaveri water to Tamil Nadu. The session also decided that no water from the present storages will be drawn except to meet the drinking water needs of villages and towns in the Kaveri Basin and Bengaluru city.
At a special session of both houses, the Karnataka Assembly on Friday passed a unanimous resolution to only release water that meets the basic concerns of Bengaluru and the Kaveri Basin. The resolution also ignored the Supreme Court's directive to release Kaveri water to neighbouring Tamil Nadu for irrigation.
The government ensures that no water from the present storages be drawn, saved and except for meeting drinking water requirements of the villages and towns in the Kaveri Basin and for the entire city of Brahat Bengaluru.
All parties unanimously decided that water from the present storage will be used only to meet the drinking water needs of villages and towns in the Kaveri Basin and Bengaluru city. Leaders denied that the developments put the state on a collision course with the judiciary.
Supreme Court have passed 3 orders within a period of about 12 days now. All the 3 orders, they are all in the nature of interim orders. Why should the Supreme Court pass such orders? Much against the wishes of the people of Karnataka, knowingly that we do not have that much of water, and knowingly that the Tamil Nadu has got sufficient water for all their irrigation purposes, and we are suffering for want of giving water to the drinking people in Karnataka.
See, they are doing contempt of court. See, justice is the main thing in this country. Each and every person has to follow whatever the judgment says when the case goes to the court. And this issue they are making as a politics. Karnataka government is making as a politics because they are going to face elections very soon.
Karnataka CM stand is unlawful. I think the court will consider it, take cognizance of the statement and do something.
On 19 September, the Kaveri Supervisory Committee had asked Karnataka to release 3,000 cusecs of water per day between September 21st and 30th. The Supreme Court doubled the quantum to 6,000 cusecs per day after Tamil Nadu pressed for water to save its samba paddy crop. The water was to be released from the 21st till the 27th of September. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, more news from south of India. Well, non-stop heavy rains have brought normal life to a complete halt in several states across India. Around 13 people died in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana so far, while waterlogging has affected normal life in Mumbai as well. Heavy rains have wreaked havoc in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana over the last 4 days, killing 13 people and prompting authorities to shift 6,000 people from flooded areas. In Andhra Pradesh, the KL Rao Sagar Reservoir is almost filled due to continuous showers in Guntur and the upper catchment areas of the Krishna River.
While in Telangana, incessant rains continue to batter the state for the third day. The continuous rain prompted the Telangana government to ask IT companies to allow their employees to work from home. The state government also sought the army's help in rescue operations in some areas. The Met Department has warned of heavy to very heavy rains over the coming days.
In Telangana state also it is expected that under the influence of this well-marked low pressure there is likelihood of widespread rainfall activity during next 5 days, and also there is likely to be one or two places isolated heavy to rather heavy rainfall in some districts.
ये बारिश एक जगह नहीं बहुत जगह गिर रहा है, इससे स्पेशली अपने हैदराबाद में बहुत प्रॉब्लम हो रहा, मगर ये प्रॉब्लम होते भी पानी तो आ रहा, मगर दिस गवर्नमेंट हैज टेकन more steps to rescue many people from the lower levels. And anyhow, the rain will continue for 2 days, 3 days, they said. Today only, the KTR has announced that these schools have given holidays for 2 days.
Financial capital Mumbai also came to a halt as the city witnessed heavy rainfall for the 6th day in a row on Friday. Waterlogging and traffic snarls were reported from many parts of the city, and suburban train services were also affected. Schools in South Mumbai remain closed even as the Met Department predicted heavy downpour in the next 24 hours. The excessive monsoon rains this year have caused major rivers across India to flood, and widespread loss of property and lives have also been reported. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the outbreak of chikungunya and dengue diseases in the national capital and other parts of the country has become a major cause of concerns. Now, experts at All India Institute of Medical Sciences have warned that Delhi government's fogging exercise is ineffective and said that the fogging drive is not going to serve any purpose.
Dengue and chikungunya have claimed more than 33 lives this season and affected over 2,800 people in Delhi. However, the All India Institute of Medical Sciences has asserted that the number of chikungunya cases are on a decline.
हाँ ट्रेंड है एक्चुअली कि कम होना शुरू हो गए हैं, बहुत ज़्यादा तो नहीं है पर ट्रेंड तो है, मैं कहूँगा कि 30% के लगभग कम हो गए हैं केसेस, कम हो गए हैं पहले से.
Meanwhile, the Delhi government has initiated a special fogging drive to prevent the spread of dengue and chikungunya. Experts at AIIMS, however, say that the fogging drive will not serve the purpose. According to doctors, one of the insecticides used for fumigation can be hazardous for humans, especially the vulnerable young and elderly groups. It can even increase the threat to those with breathing difficulties. The chikungunya outbreak in Delhi is the worst in the last 6 years.
ज़्यादा मात्रा में इनहेल कर जाता है और रेस्पिरेटरी ट्रैक्ट में चला जाता है, सांस की नलियों में चला जाता है, तो खांसी वगैरह हो सकती है, रेस्पिरेटरी डिस्ट्रेस हो सकता है, सांस फूल सकता है, और जो मरीज होते हैं क्रॉनिक ब्रोंकाइटिस वगैरह के, अस्थमा का, उनकी प्रॉब्लम बढ़ सकती है.
Meanwhile, in neighbouring Haryana, Health Minister Anil Vij said that the situation was comparatively better than last year, with lesser number of cases and no death reported due to disease so far. He added that 458 positive cases of dengue have been reported from the state, out of which 259 patients have been discharged. Schools in Haryana have been directed to launch campaigns to make students aware about the vector-borne diseases. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Let's now get you some international news. Breaking news coming in from Washington, D.C., where 4 people were killed in a shooting outside a mall this morning. The shooting occurred at the Cascade Mall in Burlington in Washington, about 105 kilometers north of Seattle. The roads have been closed nearby as authorities are searching for the shooter. The survivors would be transported by a bus to a nearby church. Now, more news from the US. Well, President Barack Obama vetoed a bill on Friday that would allow family members of 9/11 victims to sue Saudi Arabia for any role in the plot. Now, in his veto message to the Congress, Obama said that the legislation undermined core US interests and that it would open American for any role in the plot. He went on to say that the legislation undermined US interests. Now, news from the Middle East. Peace continues to elude Syria because the talks between US and Russia have failed to broker any sort of ceasefire. Now, US and Russia met again on Friday but continued with their bickerings, with Russia blasting US at the United Nations General Assembly for having thrown its weight around in the world. Now, Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov quoted George Orwell's Animal Farm at the United Nations General Assembly to accuse Washington of saying that all animals are equal, but acting as if some are more equal than the others. He laid the blame on the US for failing to control the rebel groups it backs in Syria. Now, the speech at the United Nations came even as the northern city of Aleppo endured a day of relentless airstrikes, with the Syrian military determined to retake rebel-held areas. At least 45 civilians were killed on Friday. Now, Syrian military had announced the new offensive in Aleppo on Thursday, and a ground offensive would also follow likely. This came after a 7-day US-Russian broken truce collapsed on Monday.
Философии межгосударственного общения, исключив попытки вмешиваться во внутренние дела государств, навязывать модели развития странам и народам. К сожалению, среди политических элит ряда западных стран глубоко укоренились идеи менторства.
Let's get to some more international news. Here is the World Wrap. Video showing moments just before the fatal shooting of a black man by North Carolina police has been released. The family of Keith Scott released the cell phone video in which officers can be heard urging him to drop the gun, but his wife is heard telling him that he's unarmed. Charlotte city leaders have been under mounting pressure to release their footage of this week's shooting. The shooting has spurred days of protest in Charlotte. US Senator Ted Cruz endorsed Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump on Friday. Cruz said that Trump was the only candidate who could stop Democratic Hillary Clinton from winning the White House on 8th of November. Cruz, a senator from Texas, was one of Trump's last challengers for the Republican presidential nomination to drop out of the race. He drew ire at the Republican National Convention in July for not endorsing Trump. And rescuers have recovered at least 162 bodies from a migrant shipwreck off Egypt's coast by Friday evening as the search for victims entered its third day. Up to 450 migrants were on board the overcrowded fishing vessel that was heading to Italy from Egypt when it keeled off the port city of Rosetten on Wednesday. The authorities have arrested 4 suspected people traffickers over the tragedy that UN says it could be the deadliest year on record for the Mediterranean. Let's get to some sports news. Well, a sharp spell of rain played a spoil sport on day 2 in the Kanpur Test match between India and New Zealand. New Zealand ended the day at 152 for 166 runs short of India's total of 318, with Kane Williamson and Tom Latham at the crease. Now, India started the play on 291 for 9, with Jadeja looking to boost the total. But the last batsman packed up a total of 318. The pitch gave the Indian spinners much more turn than the New Zealanders, with Umesh Yadav trapping Martin Guptill in the front. But then the Indian bowlers ran into the formidable Kane Williamson. Now, Williamson, along with Tom Latham, played on a steady as Indian bowlers tried to dislodge them. The duo added 117 runs together. That's all in this edition of news. Thanks for watching.